Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of the ForneverWorld podcast. I am your host, as always, ForneverWorld, alongside my co-host and very good friend, Daniel Santos. Shintai, tell the people what's up. What's up? Hello?
Hello?
What? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I think that's just the noise suppression on Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it picks up something that that doesn't sound like a human voice, then it cuts it out. So I guess I thought me saying "what's up" didn't sound human.
Demonic Shintai in the house. He's on demon time, people. He's
That's
on
right.
demon time.
That's right. I activated my devil trigger.
So while a few people have been asking, what happened with last week's episode of the podcast? We actually recorded the episode. We had the full thing, but there was a big problem with the audio.
Yep.
A lot of technical stuff. I don't want to, dive into it. Nobody's fault. We both just had some issues with our audio. So unfortunately, it wasn't salvageable. There was just no way to save it. So we had to kind of skip that episode. For those that were waiting for it, I sincerely apologize. I hate letting you guys down because I know a lot of you have been digging the ForneverWorld podcast and our shenanigans. But hopefully we're recording on this one. Let me look at my mic. Is my mic okay? Yeah. Our mics are good. Shintai, is your mic good?
My mic is good.
We're good, people. Okay, so I thought it'd be interesting to tackle a topic that has been going on for the last week or in some change now. I reported on it in a couple different videos, but I wanted to deep dive and get Shintai's take on this too, because in case people don't know, recently one of the most notorious and popular illegal streaming sites, Kissanime, was shut down. Now I'm hearing murmurings that it's returned under another name or some shit like that. I'm not really sure.
Anime
I
Kiss?
want to stress right now that I am not advocating for piracy. I'm not saying, hey, people go do anything. I am strictly, the both of us are strictly speaking from our opinions, our experiences, and all of that jazz. We're not endorsing it or none of that stuff, so just want to throw that out there before we begin, so people don't take this the wrong way in any sort of fashion. If you do pirate, if you do go on illegal streaming sites, that's your business. I ain't saying a goddamn thing to you, because get it how you get it, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? Are you with me, Shintai, on that one?
I totally agree. It's your decision. You do what you want. We're not telling you what to do. It's your life. Don't you forget.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things is, I think that there's a big thing to talk about regarding this in terms of the impact that piracy and anime and manga has had. Because we all know the negatives, right? Or what they say is the negative. Some people disagree on that. In terms of the people that would, a lot of people, they say wouldn't pay regardless one way or another, but the people that would, we know the negatives that, okay, instead of paying for a streaming service, instead of buying the DVD or Blu-ray, they obviously make the choice, well, I could just watch it here for free. Well, I'm gonna do that. So we know the negatives, but what about the positives and some of the I don't know if you'd say unfortunate or fortunate or whatever, but the impact that it's helped the industry concerning piracy, people torrenting, people illegally streaming and whatnot, and the importance of that, right? Because I feel as though there has been some good things that came out of this. I think we wouldn't even be at the point we're at right now, mainstream-wise, if it wasn't for the torrenting and piracy that has been done for the last 20, 30 years in the anime and manga industry, even taking it back to illegal VHS tapes, people, ripping VHS tapes and selling them off and shit like that. I think it's helped. What do you think, Shintai?
I think it's pretty undeniable. I mean, there's a bunch of shows that, anime, movies, and series and whatever, that people would have never known about if it wasn't for piracy. Like, stuff that we would have never gotten. And because of that, it's broadened people's horizons and awareness of anime. People will be like, oh man, I just checked out this show and it was awesome. And they'll show it around, be like, man, you can't get this here. Check it out, it's so good. And just like people doing stuff like that, it makes people more aware of anime and great shows that they're missing out on. I always feel though that if people resort to piracy, that is a fault of the industry, because they are not providing a service. They're not providing a good enough service. They're not providing the people what they want. Because I think at the end of the day, most people would like to get this stuff through legal channels, and if they can't, that's the fault of the industry.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with that.
No, it's definitely don't get me wrong. There are those people that even if they had the opportunity, just to spite the industry, they'll go to the illegal methods. Right. There's definitely those people.
Sure.
But I could definitely see if it was easily, readily available, an app on everyone's phone, which to be honest and to be fair, there are at this particular point more avenues of legal. Over the last 5 years, I think a lot has changed. Maybe maybe 3 years or so, with the emergence of streaming. I think it has cut down on the piracy. I could tell you right now that I think in the manga piracy realm, with the popular titles of Shonen Jump and shit like that, I can almost make a guaranteed bet that with the emergence of the Shonen Jump app releasing same day as Japan, the chapters and shit like that, has tremendously helped out with piracy. I think a lot of people, they're like, yo, it's $2 a month. I have this gigantic library. I get the chapters with some faithful translations ASAP on my phone. So I do think that getting to that point, like what Shintai said, it's having it readily available, having it in a great manner, in a great fashion, in one place, has been one of the keys to actually fixing the situation. Because ideally, we want at some given point, right, for there to be methods that are easily accessible, that people just say, what the fuck am I going to go on these illegals when the best place to get it is right here, and I'm supporting the industry and all that jazz. Or even if you don't care about supporting the industry, just the best place to get it is right here, and in turn, it does help the industry. And going back to the point where talking about the benefits of what it's done and whatnot with piracy, even going back to 2013, let's just say, Attack on Titan, right? When it exploded back in the day, piracy was more rampant even back then than it is now. I think piracy has went down, and that word of mouth, I think that is one of the most golden, helpful pieces that has come from people pirating and whatnot, is the fact that people saying yo, I just saw this anime, they put their boy on, or their boy puts 2 more people on, and next thing you know, within that exchange, some merch was probably bought, some DVDs were probably picked up, some manga volumes were probably picked up. So that is also the key of word of mouth. Maybe some people, they watched it and didn't put in a single dime because they saw it on off-brand sites or whatnot, but the people that they put on to that definitely more than likely picked some stuff up, or they watched it on the legal sites or whatever, because they hear their friends and shit like that. So that's another major benefit that piracy has brought to the table.
Yeah, I don't know why, but this kind of reminds me of when now I don't really listen to their music personally all that much, but there's a band called Radiohead. They've come out with some albums that are considered classics, like OK Computer and Kid A. But they came out with one album in particular called In Rainbows. And what was weird about that album, and why I bring it up, is when they released it, they let the fans, whoever wanted to buy the album, name their price. Which included free. And what ended up happening is the band said they made more money off of that album than all their other albums combined.
Wow. That is very... I feel like I actually heard this story before, and that's... The marketing on that is genius in and of itself, because you're going to get the people that appreciate it so much. Just like I mean, the run of the mill anime and manga fan, like even if let's just say they watch shit, illegally and shit like that, like perfect example is like they will still potentially buy some shit to support it. Like I think to the era that we're at right now, right? Like even comparing it, like you bringing up music and shit like that, the value of like a download in comparison to like a DVD or a Blu-ray, like people don't value it as much anymore when they could just download it. But in turn, I think the switch or the addition that's come from that is that people still want some type of, they want to feel like they own something, right? They want to feel like they're a part of it. So they may not value like purchasing the show itself or the manga itself, but people still want to feel like, oh man, I got a part of this and shit like that. I own something of it. So they still will go back and support it in another fashion. So that, like the anime manga industry, one of the, I don't know if it's a secret per se, but merchandise has helped the industry survive for a long time now. Like especially when piracy became rampant, I want to say like in the early 2000s, when it started, like 2006 I want to say, where it really started taking off. The industry survived off merch, and I think again a lot of it goes back to, while piracy was hurting it to some degree, you could argue, that and I keep going back to the point, the word of mouth and people wanting to own something. Like, with that band Radiohead, a lot of people, they probably even at first went and got it for free, and then they loved it and enjoyed it, and they say, you know what, fuck it, man, they deserve my money, this music is too good, and they went back and bought it. I firsthand, for 10 fucking years, have been a prime example of doing that. There's plenty of series that I read and I was like, this is so good. I'll put you a big example right here. Hunter x Hunter. I read the manga and I was fascinated by the manga and the anime, and I went and I said, you know what, I want to support this series, even though I already enjoyed the entirety of the story via the anime, and I read the manga. I went back and I bought 30 volumes of the manga. I've constantly done that with Naruto. I'm reading the chapters every week, and I'm buying the volumes as they come out. Bakuman, all of these series, I've done that, and that's again the love of it. You put out a quality product, word of mouth and support and love from the fandom will carry it.
I have in my hands right now, I'm showing on camera, my teen romantic comedy Snafu, also known as Oregaru. I'm paying for Crunchyroll, but I was watching it on Crunchyroll, but I liked it so much, I'm like, no, this is too good. I want to directly support the creators, and got it, seasons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray because it was that good. I enjoyed it that much.
Yeah, and
and and I know exactly how you feel. There's other stuff like that I've seen where I either streamed it first or whatever, I saw it at a friend's house, whatever, and I was just like, no, this is too good. I need to go out and get it myself and, own my own copy because, they not only for my own benefit of owning it because I want to be able to watch it whenever I feel like, but also because like the quality is such that I want to make sure that the people that are behind it are getting properly compensated and their work is being, recognized.
Now, I'll be fair and I'll say, in terms of business, relying on that aspect is not a great model. I'm going to say that. Like, relying on, like, man, well, hopefully the fans will support this, even though they'll pirate it. Like, hopefully they'll at least buy a plushie or some shit like that. Definitely not the model. But again, it goes back to the point of they need to get it right. They need to... I've seen a complaint that people say with like going on Crunchyroll and shit like that is that watching for free, yeah, you don't got to pay the subscription cost, but that there's a lot of advertisements and shit like that. I think one of the things that could kind of eliminate that, and anime and manga as a medium is continuing to grow. I don't even think that's really the fans too much that can do anything in that regard. I think more so eliminating the ads is bigger companies partnering up, and I see that coming in the future, considering the fact that Sony has been poaching in the anime industry. They purchased Funimation a couple of years ago. They're in talks of buying Crunchyroll as well, and Sony has access to plenty major major advertisers and all sorts of shit, so they can get the advertisers that are going to give $100,000 to, you know, not have ads, or maybe have one ad in the whole fucking thing. Or even, you know, let's just say in the anime episode, in the background they have like a keys from a Jeep or some shit like that, something stupid like that, that it's not gonna interrupt shit. Which I guess, do you think that would be something that would get backlash if they would put, like, let's just say again, a site like Crunchyroll or Funimation, where no more ads, so you can completely watch 1080p anime episodes as they drop. You don't gotta pay a subscription, but you'll start having, which I think Hulu does this very frequently. You know, let's just say the character has a laptop. On the laptop, it's going to be very obvious that they have the Apple symbol. Would that bother you?
Not really. Like, me personally, I could see it bothering other people, but for me, I'll be like, okay, whatever.
Maybe it goes to how obnoxious it is. Like, I was watching a show maybe about a year ago on Hulu. It was not a sitcom. It was like a show about, I can't remember the freaking name of it, to be honest with you, but this little girl that her mother kept her in a wheelchair and pretended she was sick and gave her meds, and she got older and killed her and all sorts of crazy shit. But the point being is that I remember, especially early on, I would get crazy, and maybe it's just me because I look at things in a different fashion. My eye is more trained to be critical, considering I've been, you know, reviewing and looking in depth into anime and manga, and this, you know, the not medium of anime and manga, just in general shit that I watch. So I'm watching this shit, and I remember I was just like going through the moon, not going through the moon, I was pissed off, just seeing constantly like, oh look, an ad for Samsung, she has a big Samsung thing, oh look, she makes sure to say, oh, this is a Coca-Cola I'm about to drink, this is so good.
Okay,
and
that
shit like that.
Okay, see, if the characters are going out of their way to say, I'm drinking a Coca-Cola, then fuck that.
Oh, like, there's ways around making it obnoxious. Like, for example, in a lot of anime, when they want to have them like at a restaurant, like a fast food restaurant, instead of having McDonald's because of the copyright shit, they have WickDonald's.
Yeah.
Immediately with Sony backing them and giving them the plug, so to speak, the ties to like a McDonald's, they could make it an actual McDonald's. Would that be obnoxious, knowing that, like, okay, they just switched it, it's no longer WickDonald's, it's McDonald's?
Like, I don't really think that's a big deal, as long as they're not like, there's like a scene where they're like ordering the food and they're like, yes, I would like to have the quarter pounder, yes, I would like to have the Big Mac. Like, that would be
Big Mac desu ne.
And they're like eating it, and then they have their eyes have hearts, and they're like, sugoi.
This sounds like some Toriko shit, yo.
Big Mac sugoi.
Oh, Big Mac kimochi desu ne. Oh.
Kimochi.
Oh shit. Yeah,
See,
I guess
like
it would just be how they play it.
But like in Code Geass, for example, that had a lot of Pizza Hut advertising in it. But I actually thought it was funny in Code Geass. Like, it didn't bother me in that. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, like, see, that's a good example, because again, it was humorous, it wasn't bothersome. But look at like what Game of Thrones pulled, which I don't give a fuck what nobody tells me. In my opinion, when the Starbucks cup was left on in the fucking episode, that was an advertisement deal under the table with Starbucks. Like, nobody's gonna tell me any fucking different. And something like that, like, imagine you're watching Berserk and Guts just survived the eclipse, and all of a sudden you see what's his fucking name, the dude that made his sword, is it Gato?
Yeah.
And you just see Gato, and he's like sipping a Starbucks coffee or some shit, or he has a Starbucks on his desk with like all his sword welding shit. I'd be like, what the fuck?
He's like,
Gatsu. He has like a Big Mac.
He's like, Gatsu, you have to try this cold brew.
And then they take a sip and they wink into the camera or some shit.
Guts is like drinking it. He's like, damn, you know what? I'm not even mad at Griffith anymore because this cold brew is so good. And then Casca drinks it, and she's cured, and she regains her memories just by drinking the coffee.
wherever he goes, like as soon as the eclipse goes down, Guts just starts drinking the fucking coffee or some shit, and it's just like the eclipse goes away, it's all over. He's like, oh, thank God, like that's his
like
fucking
the demons
medicine.
are gonna come attack Guts, and Guts is like, no, hold up, try this coffee though. And then the demons start drinking the coffee, and they're like, man, why are we even fighting you? What's the point? Look at this. This coffee is so good.
Good, like yo, you have a good day, man. I appreciate you. Oh shit! So I guess there's the potential for it to get worse because that's directly affecting the content. Like
Yes.
there's a difference. Like okay, I have the alternative to say fuck going to this legal streaming site. I'm gonna go to the off-brand site so I don't get bombarded with either subscription fees or advertisements or whatever. Even though a lot of those off-brand sites bombard you with advertisements as well, but different story. That right there, there's no escape. There's no escape. Guts winking at you with Big Maku. So it's almost like
I don't know. I think Guts is more of a Whopper kind of guy.
Oh man, funny with the
flame grilled.
I actually appreciate Burger King, even though people have been really hating what they did with their latest marketing strategy with paying the Twitch streamers like $3 to say Burger King is giving Whoppers for $1 or some shit, like funny controversy and shit. But that's a side note. Well, see, here's the thing, because finding the method that works, because obviously there's methods that work in terms of like fucking 2.5 Men or some shit. How do those shows survive, right? Like, you got to look at, well, what are they doing that is different, and why is it that it works for them? Is it the audience in particular, or is it just that, like, us anime and manga fans, we're just so fucking just shit tier that we're the worst of the worst, we won't support our shit? Is that what it is? I don't think so, because anime and manga fans, we love our shit more than... Like, we're going to go out of our way more for our shit than a 2.5 Men fan is going to go out of their way for their show. Like, they're going to watch it, they're going to laugh, and never give a fuck again. We're going to watch it, we're going to laugh, cry, scream, tell our friends about it, go buy plushies, manga volumes, anime DVDs, and like, 5 years from now, talk about how it changed our lives. So,
as far as I know, there are no conventions for sitcoms. There are anime conventions where
exactly.
There are no conventions where people are going dressed up as fucking Frasier.
Hey, you'd be surprised, to be honest.
I doubt it, and and not as much as people dressing up as Light or L or Lelouch or Shinji or Asuka. Like, there are so many anime conventions where so many people are going dressed up as their favorite characters, because these are the people that care. These people care so much, and they want to be surrounded by other people who care just as much as they do. And you don't really get that for sitcoms.
Well, okay, here's something that just popped into my head, because equity is a very, very big staple of people giving a fuck. Like, that's the reason why anime video games we never get great anime video games, because the companies that make video games that are great, they're like, why am I going to put all this money and invest in something that I don't even fucking own, so I'm not going to get return on an investment that's really, lucrative, right? So I think moving forward, another avenue, option, whatever you want to call it, would be these anime companies saying, all right, you know what, we're going to make this show, you guys get, a 5% equity in the show on everything all across the board. Kind of like what the music industry has been doing for quite some time now, with putting almost every artist on a 360 deal, where you sign the artist, you give them how much money, and, you get money off their tours, you get money off their merchandise, you get money off their endorsement deals. So, and that would be an incentive for like these companies also to do bigger and grander things with them. It's like, oh, okay, this new Code Geass season, we own a 10% stake of the actual IP. We're gonna do big things with it, and also they'll get the funding that they need and shit like that. So could it be that giving up rights to a small degree would benefit them and it would work? Or do you think that would also, I mean, there's definitely some shit that will backfire from that, just like for example, Western ideals of like, the social justice warrior shit that has been more rampant than ever in 2020, where like, let's just say Sony buys, 51% of the next Fate, whatever they do. Now all of a sudden they have control to say, oh no, these characters, no more blood in the show, no more cursing. They're fighting over gender politics or whatever. Not that I'm saying that in any fashion or anything like that. I'm just saying it in particular of like, imagine, Fate Stay Night, and all of a sudden it becomes about gender politics. Like it'd be random as fuck in the middle of the show, right? So I guess that's the downside.
That sounds fucking terrible.
A fucking holy war over that. Oh shit.
I mean, it's hard. I don't think that would ever happen. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say what would really happen because all we can really do is speculate, and I don't know. It is what it is. But I did think it was kind of interesting though when you were talking about like anime games. Did you know that they recently came out with a fucking Samurai Jack game?
Yeah, I've been hearing all the rave about it. A lot of people been uploading and shit. I actually haven't checked out gameplay. Is it any good?
I haven't played it myself, but I saw a video review of it, and a friend of mine that I trust picked it up, really liked it. So apparently it's pretty good. I liked what I saw in the footage. Like, it seems like a pretty straightforward kind of Devil May Cry-ish kind of game where you just play as Jack and you get multiple weapons and you can level up and you just like fight enemies and that's it. It's just straightforward and it's good.
What is it, like a beat 'em up or?
Yep. You hack and slashing. You get different weapons and you can do combos.
Okay. Like,
which for Samurai Jack makes sense.
Yeah, I've actually been getting into hack and slash again, or beat 'em ups, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I've been playing One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 for the Switch, and it's always an anime game that for some reason reinvigorates my interest in gaming. I remember when Storm 2, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 had dropped back in the day. I did not give a fuck about gaming at all. I mean at all. I had just gotten a PS3, and I remember I just didn't even care. Like, I had it just sitting there collecting dust because I didn't care. And Storm 2, all the hype on YouTube at the time, I picked it up. I was like, fuck it, whatever, let's go. Let me just give it a try. And all of a sudden, I'm loving gaming. I'm picking up a Wii. I'm spending hundreds of hours on Monster Hunter. And now with One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, because I haven't been like the most into gaming yet for a lot of reasons. It's just been hard for me to get into, but I sit on that motherfucker and I forget about the world and I just get immersed into it. So something about me with anime games that resonates so well to the point where I just like get immersed and I love gaming again. It's weird.
I think there's just something about like when you really like, there are some Fate games, like they're called Fate Extella and Fate Link or whatever. Honestly, they're not great games. Like, if they had nothing to do with Fate, I would say like they're like barely mediocre. But the fact that I get to play as my favorite Fate characters makes those games for me. Like, being able to actually do Excalibur, being able to play as Ryder, and
oh man,
like doing shit like that. Like, even if the game itself is kind of like whatever, mediocre, like there's something special about being able to control your favorite characters and being able to do cool shit. Like, even if the gameplay itself is kind of whatever, just being able to like do unlimited blade works, it's just like, that's so cool.
Yo, imagine an open world like GTA type of style Fate game with like the best battle mechanics in the fucking world. How many nuts would you bust like running around Tokyo trying to fucking fight Gilgamesh or some shit? Like, oh,
I don't think I'd be able to get out of my chair. It'd be too sticky.
Dude, the fucking Holy Wars never got sticky.
I'll be playing the game. I'll just be like,
Yo, just quickly, is the open world and the mechanics in general of Grand Theft Auto some of the most interesting and enjoyable mechanics of all of gaming?
Not for me.
No?
I mean, I like GTA in high school a lot, but as I got older, like I feel like I've just played like that type of game so much that like it doesn't really do much for me anymore.
Well, I'm not like speaking like, the drug kingpin and all that shit. I'm mainly speaking of like just the open world environment. There's just something about that. It's almost like you're living another life in that game in a sense. And like that's the thing that I always find fascinating about GTA. Yeah, I've been off GTA since like I want to say maybe 08.
I hear you, but it's just that I just played so many games that are like big open world games that I kind of got sick of it, because there's games like Just Cause 3 and 4. There's even like Skyrim. Outer Worlds came out not that long ago. Like tons of like the Fallout games, tons of big open world games where you go around, you explore, and they can be fun for sure, and I've enjoyed a good number of them. But it's, again, I don't know, it's just at this point, like if you put one in front of me, I'd probably just be like, I'll pass. I'm not in the mood. I've just been burnt out on that type of game.
Yeah, this is a shame Kakarot wasn't more like, because I don't know, I find it fascinating. Because I haven't played that many, like aside from the GTA games and a few here or there, I haven't played as many of them. And I don't know, I just admire like the amount of work too that goes into that. I could imagine like you're literally creating a whole fucking world in a video game, and it's like the real world and as big and as a what would be the word, you can explore it just as you would explore the fucking real world, but do things that you could never do. So I guess that's what I find really fascinating about that.
No, I hear you. Yeah, and there is a something really appealing about that. But again, I've beaten like Infamous 1, 2, and 3. I've beaten Prototype 1 and 2. Like all these.
Did you ever play DC Heroes?
We played it together.
Yes, I was wondering if we played it together or not. Yeah,
we played it for a hot minute.
That was so fucking fun. That was so fun.
That was fun.
Like, what was it? You could be heroes or villains, and you could like pick a different power, and
yeah, you could create your own hero. I remember my guy was like, he used like his fists to fight or some shit like that. It was a while ago. And it was on the PS3.
Oh my god, my internet was so fucking trash. I remember it took me like about 2 fucking days of leaving my PlayStation just downloading that fucking game, bro.
I remember the download was huge.
Oh shit, bro. But boy, was that fun. And again, that goes back to my thing of that's something that I appreciate. But like if a new GTA was announced tomorrow, I wouldn't give 2 fucks. If I had it available and accessible, I'd play it. Would I go out and even pay for it at this point? I don't know. I don't think so, because I'm not. So it's like I like that the idea of it, and sure, I'll play it if it's in front of me, but I'm not like, busting a nut to run out and pick up a new GTA or something like that. Even again, Kakarot, like I picked it up, a month or 2 after it came out, and it was fun. But yeah, I'm not burnt out by the idea of it. But it's like, yeah, you play one of them, it's you get the gist of an open world game.
I think the last open world game I played was the Spider-Man game that came out, and that was really good. But
yeah, that was a good one. Yep.
That was really good. But the reason why I think it was really enjoyable was because, one, the story was actually really good. Like, you could argue that the story in that game was better than like the Spider-Man movies. Like it was really good. And the web slinging was also a lot of fun. So like. But that's the thing, right? Like, I think what made that game so much fun was less that it was an open world game and more that it was a Spider-Man game. Like, the open world is just like, it just happened to be an open world game. Like, because for me personally, I prefer games that are focused. So like, I'd actually rather have like a really linear game, but like everything that you do is like meticulously crafted, and like and everything that you do is like really interesting and engaging.
How many video games have explored the idea of, like, let's just say a motherfucker like Superman, for example, flying from planet Earth, fly through space, fly to another planet? Have any games actually really made a genuinely good game that you do all those things, or even had something where you could do all those things? Or
Sort of. So it's not where you're like Superman, you can just fly, but there is a game called No Man's Sky where it has that thing where what you're talking about, where you could get in your spaceship and you could just like take off from a planet, and you could go into space, and you can like land on a completely different planet, and there's like billions of planets.
wasn't that a lot of people said that game was shit?
When
Something
it
was
came
wrong
when
with
it
that?
first came out, it was bad, but the developers listened, and over the years they kept at it, they kept updating it, they kept releasing expansions, and now it's actually good. Like they really took to heart all the criticism, and they made it like it's not even the same game anymore. Like they actually turned it into a good game.
Fair enough. That's an idea I've always found fascinating. Like, I remember, and I don't think it was that you could actually fly through or anything like that, but I remember Ashura's Wrath, I want to say it was called. That game looked so cool, where like you're this dude and you're flying through fucking space and you fight this dude in space. And I don't know if it was all cutscenes, to be honest with you. I never really got a chance to play it, but I remember looking at trailers and shit and thinking, this looks fucking godlike.
Yeah, so like I remember playing the demo for that game, and like that game is half cutscenes and then half just like punching dudes.
But isn't that like most video games nowadays? Except like instead of it being punching dudes, it's like fetch quests, like Kojima's latest game. It's like cutscene, fetch quest, cutscene, fetch quest.
No, because with Ashura's Wrath, it was like it was all like quick time events. So like the game would still have you like pressing buttons even during like cutscenes, and so there was a lot of emphasis on that.
So it's trying to say, hey, you're still playing a video game during the cutscene. I don't like the quick time events per se, because it gets me real fucking anxious, but I also appreciate that aspect, because I've, for the longest time, been very adamant about, I am not a fan of playing video games that, and I think a lot of people take this stance too, I've seen people say this, it's like, I want to play a video game. I don't want to watch a video game. Sure, story is important, but don't let the story override my enjoyment of playing this fucking game.
I can respect that, but I've also played a bunch of games where you could barely even honestly call them games. Like they're
In terms of what? What do you mean?
like you just walk around, that's the game. And I've enjoyed them. Like there's one game super short, it's called Paratopic, and it looks like an old PS1 game, and it's super short too. You can beat it in like 40 minutes. And I thought it was awesome, like because it had like a really neat atmosphere to it. The visual style looked like an old PS1 game, and it's not about what you're physically doing, but it's more about like you trying to piece together the story, because it's like fragmented and it's out of order, and you're actually like jumping between different character perspectives, but the game doesn't tell you that, so you don't even realize that it's happening until you if you really pay attention. So like it was really cool and it was really interesting, but gameplay wise it's not anything special. So I think
I don't know.
I think you know, again, I totally respect the desire to just like, hey, when I play a game, I want to play a fucking game, and that's it. But for me, like, I really appreciate the flexibility of the medium, where you can have that type of game if you want, but there are also other types of games that try to do different things, and they're more story heavy, or they're just more experimental, and they're trying to like get across a vibe rather than just, you know, a mechanic.
Well, okay, here's something where I feel like they do it right. Ni no Kuni.
Okay.
where you're going to grind and play for a long fucking time, but you're also going to get a lot of story too. I think maybe for somebody like me, there needs to be the balance of I enjoy a good story, but let me play the fuck out of the game in between the story. So like, let me get fucking 7 hours or 5 hours of just grinding and playing, and then if you want to give me an hour of fucking cutscenes, why not?
Okay, I hear you. I can respect that. You might like the Yakuza series because it's kind of like that, where like
Yeah, I've heard great things about Yakuza. What was it? One of the latest ones I heard not so good things about it. Was it?
what?
Or
No,
maybe it was
all of them have been
Yakuza
good.
3. I don't know if it was the return of it or some shit. It might have been a clickbait video or something, but I seen it was somebody made a video like the fall of Yakuza and how it like became like a standard run-of-the-mill game opposed to how revolutionary it was back
Okay,
in the
that
day
sounds
or
like
some
a
shit
bunch
like
of crap. Whoever made that video is full of shit.
that. Okay, see, I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying what I saw.
Well, I mean, I've beaten every game in the series. I don't think there's been any fall. That sounds like crap to me. But the point I was trying to make was like, because the thing about the Yakuza games is like there's a lot of cutscenes and there's a lot of like story, and the story is very important. But when you are playing the game, like when you're just running around the town, you know, you're doing side quests. You can do mini games. You get into like random fights with characters. Like you can't initiate fights, but like there'll be random dudes coming up to you and just being like, "Let's fight," and then you just have to fight them. Like it's really funny. Like you could be drunk, and that'll be a reason why they'll want to fight you. Like, hey, get the fuck off the street, you drunk, and then they'll try to fight you. It's funny.
I think I almost was going to get. I remember we even talked about it a long time ago. Yakuza 0. I want to say I was.
Yes,
about
that's the
to
best
pick up.
one, hands down. Hands down, that is the best one. Period. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's also the best place to start because it's a prequel. You could play Yakuza 0, and if you don't want to fuck with the rest of the series, that's fine. Yakuza 0 is like fucking like perfect.
So the Yakuza story, it was originally a spin-off of The Simpsons, right?
Oh, totally. It's actually Homer Simpson's past life that he doesn't tell Marge about.
I'm sorry. Oh, homie.
I don't know where you got that from, but like, sure, dude. Fucking Simpson.
The way my brain works, bro, trust me, I could actually give you a logical explanation. I'm not going to do it here on camera of how I came to that point, and you'd be like, oh, shit. But it's all a troll, trust me, but there's a reason how I got there. But anyway.
Yakuza 0 is the fucking GOAT, though. It is the GOAT. It's so fucking good.
Shout out to Homer.
Homer.
Oh, homie. Oh, shit. Yo, because we actually had a fun topic of video games for like 15 minutes. Let's jump into a friendly game of Who Wants to Be an Anime Fan.
Sounds good. All right. Are you ready for this, my friend?
I'm scared. Let's do this.
All right. So here goes. In Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Kaguya tends to come across as cold and self-serious. However, she has a weakness and will burst out laughing if you mention A, clowns, B, wieners, C, farts, or D, Chica's plot.
B, Wiener's final answer.
Well, D is Chica's plot.
No, B, Wieners.
Are you sure about that?
I just want to see Kaguya with some wieners. Go ahead.
Fuck you. You actually got it right. Did you watch that episode?
No, but I don't know why. I just wanted to roll with that. Like, Kaguya gets wieners.
No, yeah, that's the joke. Like, because Kaguya has, like, she's really, when it comes to that sort of thing, she's really immature. So, like, whenever anyone says the word wieners, she just starts cracking up. She can't take it.
That's my girl. Shout out to Kaguya.
Yo, Kaguya's the GOAT. Kaguya's so good.
Yo, I grand slam dunked that shit, boy.
I didn't even need to repeat it. You were just like zeroing in on that one. You're just like, no, that's it.
Kaguya wants wieners. She wants wieners. I mean, clearly she wants wieners. She wants the fucking the dude, his wiener. So you know.
Yep, she does.
Wiener,
you're not even wrong.
Wiener galore. She want to give him that whop, that whap.
Yep.
Okay.
That went by way quicker than I was expecting. Shit.
Yeah.
Just like burst, just like bum rushed it.
Let's anime manga we've been enjoying lately. That's something we I feel like we've been neglecting a little bit.
A little bit.
I'll start off. I actually just last night finished the last episode up to date that's been released of the 7 Deadly Sins. So I finished the first season a long fucking time ago. I finished Revival of the Commandments a few weeks ago, and I just finished the Imperial Wrath of the Gods, I want to say. It's the latest one that came out, and I have to stress this, and I think I'm going to make a video at some given point, but I got to stress this. Wow. This reminds me of the conversation we had earlier, I think it might have been off camera, I'm not sure, about the internet lying on some shit, because the 7 Deadly Sins, the latest season, one of the big things is people say it's horrible, it's trash, it's fucking garbage. And at the time, for the longest time since I've seen it, a lot of what I was basing it off of was, oh, okay, this must be because if everybody's telling me it's trash, and what I've seen, the couple of clips that I've seen of terrible animation, it must be trash. And I actually sometimes forget, don't fucking go along with what the mob is saying, because they might, be steering you in a direction. Yo, I fucking loved the 7 Deadly Sins latest season. Yes, it had some animation. Like, there's a clear dip in quality from the A1 pictures to what the fuck Dean pulled or whatever. But man, it's nowhere near like it. People act like it's fucking the Berserk 2016 anime or some shit, and it's far from that. Like, yeah, a couple of key fight scenes they botched, no denying that, but we're talking about 24 fucking episodes. We're not talking about like 20 minutes altogether of fights and shit like that. So, and the few, they only botched like a couple of them. Like, yeah, they were important fight scenes, but a few botched animated fight scenes doesn't fucking destroy a whole goddamn season. Like, no. And I also have to ask, like, I have to say, like, I think your priorities are kind of messed up if like the animation of a fight is what ruins it for you. Like, I don't know, I'm just saying, maybe your priorities are a little fucked up. Like, shouldn't you be worried more about how the characters are being presented and how coherent the story is and shit like that? I don't know. Not saying the fights aren't important, because the fights are part of the story, but I don't know. Yeah. Yo,
what do I know?
They had me thinking, and if that's your opinion, fair enough. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong, whatever the case may be. Well, if that's your, like Shintai say, your priorities, then so be it. But they had me thinking like this was a shit fucking sandwich. Like, I legit was so depressed going into it, because I'm like, oh man, I love season 1. I really enjoyed season 2, Revival of the Commandments. Fuck, man, why they had to fuck it up? And I seen a couple of clips of shitty looking fights. I'm like, fuck. And then I watched it, and I was so amazed. The characters, I just love the cast of characters from the 7 Deadly Sins. I want to repeat that one more time. I fucking love the cast of characters from the Seven Deadly Sins. Like the way they're written, they're all like they're diverse. It's not like this is just like, oh, this character is always sulking over dog shit or whatever the fuck. Like they you get each of the characters, you dive into who they are, their struggles, their past, and a decent amount of time too. It's not just like a quick one episode a piece. The side characters, I could go on for fucking days. And again, whenever I make that video about Seven Deadly Sins, I'll dive into it. But I just gotta say, man, I feel bamboozled by the herd mentality, and I feel like I've been slandering the Seven Deadly Sins anime for the longest. Again, I gotta repeat, yes, there was some shitty anime. The animation as a whole is a dip down from the previous seasons, again from A1 Pictures, clear as day. But boy, the story, and it's not even like bad animation. Like majority of the time, it's fine. It's not even just like, oh, it's watch. Like no, it's good. It's fine. It's just sometimes it does look a little dog shit in like fights, which again, fights are great. They obviously, solve some plot lines and shit like that, but that's not the end all be all. And if the story hits, the characters hit, the world building hits, everything is hitting, and for the most part, the animation is damn good. A few shitty looking points isn't going to stop me. A few still screens or whatever the case may be isn't going to stop me from saying like, yo, this shit was amazing. I fucking loved it. I'm torn right now if I'm going to either wait until January or technically even longer, because I'd rather just sit there and get like all 24 episodes at once, so it'd probably be towards the end of fucking next year. Or should I just read the fucking manga and then eventually I'll check out the anime? I don't know, but I loved it. I feel hoodwinked and bamboozled for even listening to the mob, because that shit was good. Really, really good, man. Shout out to Seven Deadly Sins. Aside from that, I gotta say, ReZero, probably my favorite anime of 2020 so far. I'd have to really sit back and think which, because Tower of God was great too, but ReZero season 2 has just been, man, that's like, because the way I watch anime, right, I compartmentalize it into different things. Like I watch certain things for different reasons. Like I'm not watching Black Clover the same way I'm watching Vinland Saga, right? Like I'm watching Vinland Saga looking at it like this is beat by beat, point by point, every single aspect is a masterpiece, next level writing, next level everything. I'm looking at Black Clover like, yo, this is enjoyable, there's some awesome plot twists, the fights are cool, all of that shit. So I compartmentalize it in different fashions, and I watch ReZero the same type of style that I watch a Vinland Saga, in terms of like that quality tier, because Re-fucking-Zero, it feels like it reinvents the wheel with a lot of the way it does things, and I love it. Like I've been having a blast. It's probably, if not my favorite, it's top 3 favorite anime of 2020 so far, and boy, they kicking. I love it. It's fucking great. Yeah. Cool. Aside from that, I've been watching the run-of-the-mill Boruto, Black Clover, and shit like that, but Re-fucking-Zero, awesome. Seven Deadly Sins, way overhated, way underrated. Yeah, that's been my watches for the most part this week. Shintai, what have you been up to, lad?
Well, I mentioned it before, but I got, Origairu on Blu-ray, so I've been watching that. I still need to finish season 2, and they're currently airing season 3. I think I'm going to wait for season 3 to finish before I binge it, but, still fucking great. Still really enjoy it. Still strongly recommend it. Really good shit. Really good characters, funny, entertaining. It's got those emotional moments that will hit you, and the dialogue is snappy and interesting. So overall, just a really good ass show. Even if you're like me and you're not really into like these slice of lifey type of shows, like that's usually not my jam. This one is different. I'd say it's one of one of the better ones, at least in my opinion. Give that shit a shot. Aside from that, I beat The Last of Us, the first one. And while I will say that the game was overhyped to a degree, because like when that game came out, people treated it like it was like the best game that was ever made. I don't think it's like quite on that level, but still really good. really good story.
Yeah. I gotta ask.
What's up?
I gotta ask. Would you describe The Last of Us as a bigoted sandwich?
Yeah, maybe the sequel. So, as Fornev just alluded to, yeah, I since I beat the first one, I started the second one, and yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So that was a scene that people took issue with, and when you hear that line out of context, "bigot sandwich," like that sounds fucking stupid. Like,
yeah.
what kind of garbage dialogue is that? Well, let me explain it to you real quick, right? So, main girl, her name is Ellie. She's a lesbian. So what was she doing? She was macking on her girl, and the bartender, he didn't like that, and called her a slur. Next morning, apparently the bartender wants to apologize. And Ellie don't want anything to do with him. She's just like, nah, doesn't want to. But he's like, look, I was drunk. I'm sorry. I made you some sandwiches, to apologize. And then, she takes a sandwich, and her friend is like, oh, what is that? She's like, you can have it. They're bigot sandwiches. Now, very, very important, because I just beat the first Last of Us game. Very important. Ellie loves dumb humor. So, like, she actually has a pun book in the first game. And you could, like, randomly, she'll talk to you in the game and just, like, read from the book and just say, like, dumb jokes. Like, oh, what do you call an alligator with a vest? An investigator.
Oh God.
Like, yeah, like that kind of like dumb humor. So, of course she's going to say a dumb joke like that. I'm just saying, so far Last of Us 2 has been pretty good, and I feel like the hate for it has been super overblown. Like, I think the game, like, I'm only like 6 hours in the game. I don't know how long the game is, but like, so far, it's pretty fun, stealthing around, stabbing dudes in the neck, blowing their heads off with shotgun. Pretty good. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, that's all
good.
I've been up to.
Oh shit, that cracked me up though, like a bigot sandwich. Out of context, it sounds ridiculous, but when you add the context, which, hey, that's the point. It's the game. That's the story. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
she tells corny puns, corny jokes. That's a part of her character. That's integral to who she is. Like, why wouldn't she tell another corny pun joke with the bigoted sandwiches? So,
yep.
Yeah, the internet bamboozled us on Last of Us, bamboozled us on the 7 Deadly Sins, and they'll continue to bamboozle to the end of time.
Oh man. Our podcast is leveling up. That's our theme now. Bamboozled.
We've been bamboozled, mate.
This podcast is next level, guys. We've got thematic subtext.
There we go. That's how we cranking it. Yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. Again, guys, sorry for last week's mishap, but we're back at it. Yeah, last week's we bamboozled you motherfuckers the way you bamboozled us.
I'm telling you, themes, symbolism.
The fucking thematic structure is real, lad. Oh.
This mad lad.
Oh shit. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think of any of the topics we've talked about in my shitty fucking accent, mate, in my fucking, I don't even know. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and yeah, we're out of here, people. ForneverWorld, Shintai, aka Daniel Santos, aka Bigoted Sandwich. Peace.